Pasha Paro. Thank you for tuning. Let's go. So today, what we talking about is, you know how they want you to shop in the home shopping network, in the little clique, in their little group of people, which leads to why people get canceled, which leads to why people say you can't work with this group, gotta work with their own group, all this sort of stuff. Well, it's simply called Beggar-thy-neighbor for short. And it's a trend that's coming back. Um, Here you go. The idea behind Beggar-thy-neighbor policies is the protection of the domestic economy by reducing imports and increasing exports. That is usually achieved by encouraging consumption of domestic goods over imports using protectionist policies such as import tariffs or quotas to limit the amount of imports. So, a lot of people, I had this big discussion when I was the alignable ambassador for South Charlotte. At the time, I was giving them something, what we would say would be a first impression for many that I was trying to talk to about it. I was telling them the concept of look. I looked at the other groups. I looked at what this group was prior to. I looked at the greater group of Charlotte. As far as when I was studying alignable, you guys know I study everything. And what I found was everybody's fighting each other for the same dollar. Right? It's like, matter of fact, look, if you look in this office back here under construction. Picture that it's four walls, boxed off. The people in there are only focused on the dollar circulating in there, and they're fighting each other for it, and they're killing each other, and they're stepping on each other's necks and throats, and telling this group not to do business with that person so they can try and get the extra dollar. But they're not realizing that there's however many offices in here that represents different parts of the world beyond their small isolated location that could be doing business with. So what my philosophy was to say, hey, look, we take our group of people as a whole, our border, because they give you little areas. So we had a little area, we had a little territory, and that was called South Charlotte, right? I gave it a little name, and we was rocking out. A couple people understood, and then you always got your haters, and then it just all fell to shit from here now with the new leadership in the area and everything. So, but I mean, I served my 2 years. Then there was like a gap of a year where it was just kind of like, I don't know, year and a half, where Smiles had it. And then there's whoever just came in recently, that regime. So I've had time to watch it just fall apart, right? Even not to say it was great when I had it, because they gave it to me to try and fix. I gave it some heartbeat. I gave the city's pulse, and then it was passed off. But here's what I'm getting at. The idea was to take the territory and treat it like a national GDP. So we work together to build stuff, and then we sell it outside of our border to bring in the money. That way the funds are coming in, versus just going back and forth between the people here, because then there's no replenishment, there's no growth, it's only circulation, right? It's like if your glass is half full and you feel like you're gonna get more by stirring it around in the cup. Like, we're gonna get some more water. We're gonna get some more. We just keep stirring. We just keep stirring it up. We're all gonna make more. But you never pour more water into the cup. That's kind of like the insanity of what people are doing, and that's why they want to get rid of Pasha. Because, I mean, at least from that group, which is great, because that way they can have their insanity. And I'm finding accepting that for value is great, because I'm meeting really some great people, and it goes to the quote of, the closer you get to where you see yourself going in life, the more the people around you will become what you expect. And it's funny how that happens, when we're least expecting it, and how we're least expecting it. But being able to go and continue and enjoy the journey allows us to fulfill the sense of discovery that creates the joy, I think, in many people. A couple words I want to look at here. Let's see here. So producer and consumer. I think these are really important words for you right now. We're going to go over a few things here, and I want to showcase to you why we're pretty much ready to fall into, like, this is the time period where we're slipping into the Great Depression. And the reason why I push sustainable communities, and I'm out here doing logos for companies and branding and marketing and business coaching and life coaching, is because this is what we're going to need to survive, is what I'm giving you. It's what I'm producing. So a producer is one who or that which produces, right? And then the verb factor says of entertainments, which we know is support. Okay. And then consumer is one who squanders or wastes. And I mean, don't think about it in the sense of like fumbling. Think about it in the sense of the resource has been used, then there's some byproducts. It might be some trash. You might be throwing out the waste. You might have ate the calamari, but then you shit. So there's byproduct, stuff like that. So it's a consumer. I want you to remember this. We'll get to it in a moment. But this is a statement here that we'll get to in a little bit, based on the spending patterns of producers. And the adverse effects of the Great Recession were slightly worse for self-employed individuals compared to those employed by others. Now, if you've been watching along, you see what I be doing for y'all. We talked about how the investment in your branding and marketing is critical. While others pull back, it's going to take them 5 years to recapture or to replenish the volume of marketing, or not marketing, but market share that they had prior to them, let's say, stopping their marketing campaigns because of the conditions of the economy right now, right? So with that being said, invest in your company and your brand, because this is also part of the mindset of being a consumer and being a producer. So when we get into it, right, there's a clear, so this notes I have here talks about how there's a distinction. Producers create goods and services while consumers purchase and use them. So that leads to mass production and consumption. Now, the consumers today, it states, are characterized by their constant engagement with an endless stream of content and products, right? Like right now, I'm producing this live video for the wise to consume to become wiser. There's endless content to choose from, so only the wise select Y97 on their iPhone or their Pixel or whatever they have with them with you right now, right? So there's a lot of other sources. The U.S. consumer spending accounts for over $14 trillion annually, making up 2/3 of the GDP. Think about that, because I know we had this buzzword of $1 trillion in buying power, right? But what is $1 trillion? What is $1 trillion? So $1 trillion, let's take a look at it here. My calculator at. That's not what I wanted. Yeah. Somebody saying, Pasha, take your weak ass to sleep because projection issues. One, they feel weak. Two, they feel like they need to sleep for certain durations of time. I mean, if you're doing something you enjoy, do it till you doze off and then wake back up and keep going, right? That's what most people do with life. Somebody told you need to sleep. I find sometimes you just need a 20-minute nap. Let's see here. What's 14? So 1, 3, 100,000. That's a million. That's a trillion. Okay. So 1 trillion divided by 14. Right? No, that's only a billion. But it's still give me the same thing. All right. So we're looking at 7%. So that 1%, that $1 trillion is only 7%. I know it sounds like a lot, but it's only 7%. That's actually only 7% of the 2/3 that actually gets spent. Do that math problem. All right. Anyway, what am I getting at? So producers we view money as a resource to achieve goals and invest in growth. And in reality, that's really why right now I'm kind of on the edge here. I need, I was doing some digging, and I'm in between, taking a moment in between project tasks and stuff, and I do little stuff like this as a mental break. Like you saw me playing chess earlier. That's a little mental break. I hadn't played in like a few months, so it was time to shake the rust off and get back into the swing of things. And I like to keep people entertained, so I'm thinking that having some losses creates the underdog, and you grow, and they get to watch it like a movie, like a Rocky movie, right? So building content. But anyway, the point I'm making is there's a lot of elements that really show that this is the moments right before, whether you want to call it like the Great Depression or the Greater Depression, because we're going to cover it in this video. So producers spend money on what it takes to produce what they're doing versus a consumer who spends money on what they want to consume, whatever that might be, right? And that could be your like we said, your steak, your calamari, your potatoes, I had some soup earlier. That was what I ate today. I had 2 bowls of soup. Um, so for the overnight flexpert sessions, you know what I mean? Like dig it like this, like the consumer retail mentality, right? It actually gives the consumers the opportunity to be producers. Think about it, because like I said, the overnight flexpert session, that's someone who is going to watch the video overnight and then wake up thinking they're an expert. They're going to watch the Netflix documentary and then they're going to think they know it all, right? Versus maybe doing some more research. Call it what you want. They're trying. So the filmmaker might produce the film and the trailers. They get everybody excited. They produced, the producers made the soundtrack, the score, for it all to be consumed. So, but here's where the consumer becomes the producer, because they get to produce the experience for consumption. You get to call up your friend, because if you use the title friends and say, hey buddy, come through and let's have a Netflix and chill, right? Some people are focused on that right now. Some people are focused on 24/7 grinding out this business because they know what we're fighting against, right? But let's go back to the movie. Let's go back to Recess, right? People that are saying they want to go outside, Recess. It's because they need a break from doing things that they don't really enjoy, versus what happens if we set our life up to do the things that we really enjoy. Would you ever need a break? You know what I mean? Would you not do it until you just passed out and then keep going when you got up again? So you call up, you say, hey, look, we're Netflix and chill. I'm going to get the drink, the smoke, the whatever it is that you want, for you guys that you want to set the mood. You're going to come in. They're going to have the lighting a certain way. Maybe they got a couple of plates. Maybe you stopped and got some pizza. Maybe you had, whatever, right? Food delivered, Instacart. So you get to produce the experience for consumption. Kind of like they get to set the table, so to speak, like a DJ at a party controls the feel, the vibe with the lights bouncing around and everything, right? So what we're looking at is that type of situation. Now, the people who are producers, well, we're interested in producing. So you put us in an environment where we can just produce 24/7. Oh, like that's what we do, right? Sun up, sun down, all around. So in the US, the consumer spending accounts for $14 trillion. Now, producers view money as the resource to move the product, to get the product built, to do R&D, to make it, to get it to the point where you need to sell it, whatever. So there's a growing trend among both producers and consumers towards sustainability, and they're willing to pay a premium for the sustainability. 80% actually expressed this willingness to do so, recognizing the long-term benefits of environmental and social responsibility. Okay. Now, problems. Overconsumption leads to depletion of resources and damaged environment, which is why you have some of the sustainability fights that you have today is just simply talking about keeping the resources healthy in the world, tidy behind it, right? So small percentage of the population consumes the majority of resources. Do you feel like that's you, right? Now, producers contribute to economic stability by creating jobs and generating income, right? Producers who adopt sustainable practice help the environment. Makes sense. Now, when we get into producing more than what one needs, we're talking about waste and economic inefficiencies. Basically, your waste could become your profit. That's when you hit me up. I come out, do the green belt stuff, show you how you can optimize your process. Basically, get you more money. Like you got some people that'll say, like, this is what people need to know about producers. Let me get big on the screen. People talk about producer and they'll say, oh, so and so don't really spend that much with us. Chances are, so and so don't spend a lot, period. Like you might be looking at their life like and think they spend a lot, but they probably not spending a lot at all. Because the consumer mindset spend, big, small, whatever. They right? Because they're consuming everything. What I'm getting at is the producer's only really spending with who is a part of their supply chain to produce what they need. However, look at a person like me. You could say, Pasha don't spend too much. But then the question is, well, what are you offering? Oh, well, we sell such and such. Okay, well, Pasha's not in the market for such and such. But what Pasha does is Pasha help you make money. See, that's the user error situation, right? It's a user error situation with a lot of these, and that's why I call them emotional attachments to beliefs, because then they'll sit up there and they'll talk down about you, right? Let's say, because, and this is that emotional intelligence and this business coaching and life coaching, because I know a lot of you are going through this right now, and people might be, and when I say talk bad about you, it's in the sense of, you know, this is why we shouldn't shop with them because they don't spend with us. So we're not that click thing, right? So we're not going to spend with them, but they don't realize that they don't offer anything that you actually want or need. Like, and I'm not saying that you don't know what you need, because that's different. Like right now, every business needs to be rebranding, refreshing, marketing, branding, whatever, something. But a lot of them don't know that's what they need. So they just look at me funny when I tell them, right? So, or they'd be like, you know, they'll tell you how they don't have funds to better their position and accomplish these goals. But then they'll follow it up with they're taking a trip to Africa, you know what I mean, for a month. Like, okay, what's that budget like? You know what I'm saying? So prioritization, but the point of the matter is, this is why they'll say, but what they're really not realizing is that you're not the same. Everybody's trying to force everybody to convert into being the same because that's how their mind works. They can only see their little blinders and their pigeonholes, somebody used to say. But what it really is just learn who that person is. A producer doesn't spend like that. A producer is going to help you produce something. Like you may be wanting to make currency. So what you're missing is that, no, you're mad at like us because you want us to shop with you. We don't shop. You don't see us at the mall. You see us at the store when we need to buy something going to our production. So y'all be in retail therapy. No, we have a purpose. We're in and out. This is why the women be in the store. I ain't gonna say the women because it's men now too. Anyway, this is why those people be in the store as long as they do. And we in and out because we came there with a purpose, with one thing. We know we want, we getting it. Okay, we might pick up this little thing here on the way out. Boom, we're out. This is why we get frustrated with those other mindsets when they go shopping. That's why we can't, they'll take forever. What are you doing? All right. Having fun wandering aisles of imagination. So, but here's the seriousness of it. Some of us are actually built to make you money. That's how you make money from us. You don't make money from us shopping with you. You make money from us by putting us in position, giving us access to your processes, your product. Let us refine it and make it better, and then you make money from us that way. It's that simple. Like somebody right now is guaranteeing that you're collecting unemployment because they don't understand how you making it. Like unemployment only lasts a few weeks. And you've been doing this for a year now, fighting, clawing, right? So, but they're saying all this stuff because the idea behind the beggar-thy-neighbor policy is the protection of the domestic economy by reducing imports and increasing exports. That is usually achieved by encouraging consumption of domestic goods over imports using protectionist policies. See, so they want you to spend with them, right? But here's the problem: they make poor quality stuff, which is bad for the environment because it might actually use more resources than needed because it's inefficiently done, which means it's going to take up more iron, more steel, more aluminum, right? And then it's going to last, it's going to break quicker and have to be replaced sooner. So the company can make more money that built it all shoddy. And, but you save 15% or maybe 50% because you were so worried about buying in your network of people that now you had to buy 10 times the amount of product because you didn't want to shop with the person that was going to give you the one that lasts for a lifetime. You know, like I just did a business plan for a customer. It was 33 pages for a client, right? Somebody else would give him one that would have been 4, and it wouldn't. I'm so excited. I can't tell you about it, but when you do things right, I think when you do things right, it can be life changing for people. And when you look at somebody like a client that's had the opportunity of 2 other people had the opportunity before you to do what you've done, and they didn't, it just show you the effect on not only that person's life but the lives around them. And that's what we're losing in our communities, that value. Because how long was that? Let's say someone gets a logo and they get 2 logos before they come see me, and each logo they have for 2 years, and it was totally done in that little whatever way these cheap logos are done, and it just was 4 years that just went. Then you come get the real deal, you pay the premium for quality, and now you boom, because everything is there. So I won't even go into detail, but it's so there, right? That puts you in a sustainable position and put those around you more sustainable. So during economic downturns, consumers, hold on, let me get, what time are we at? What time are we at? 30-minute mark. Okay, let me put this down because this is gonna be a note. All right. Important. Write this down. During economic downturns, consumers often shift their preferences towards cheaper products. This trend has been observed uh, often. They like the lower price alternatives when it's bad times, which makes sense on the surface. And then in fact, it says 18% of consumer packaged goods buyers have switched to lower price brands in recent years, with 46% of them finding these products perform better than expected. So if you see me with a Toyota after the last couple Benzes and Beamers, that might fit this bill, right? So 18% of consumer packaged goods buyers have switched to lower priced brands in recent years, with 46% of them finding these products perform better than expected. Now, the question is, did they actually perform better than expected, or was it the psychological projection issue of them saying, you know what, why was I spending so much before? Right? Why was I spending so much before? And the answer is really because of the experience. So you wanted the experience. It's like a job. Most people don't realize a job is being sold to you. And you don't think about it like that because you feel like you're getting paid to go there, right? But that's what the word pay means. It means to satisfy. So part of the satisfaction is the experience, which is why you talk about the work environment. You talk about the benefits you get, your PTO, your vacation time, your this, your that, your sick pay, your health benefits, all that, because it's an experience. They're selling you the experience. And you sign the contract for the experience. Now, that's why employees' mindsets, and I'm not saying there's not producer mindsets in employee roles, but what I'm saying is that's why the employee mindsets are most often the consumer based. They're going to go in, punch the clock with the mindset of only just to get back home to have an experience that they actually enjoy, to counterbalance the experience that they don't enjoy. And then they're going to talk shit about all the producers that's out there trying to do their thing, because they really ain't producing nothing. It's like a business, like the business owner that sells retail, whether it's financial tools or insurance or any of that stuff. Like if you're not producing something, you're probably not in alignment with the mindset of a producer. So employees often align themselves with their roles as consumers, seeking companies whose values resonate their own, instead of making their own company that actually resonates their values. And if I could explain it properly, how I'm seeing it in my mind, like I'm trying to put this all together for you. I know it might sound scattered, but it's really connected. It's really spider web with nodal points. But this is why the level of self-employment rises right before these Great Depressions or these high whatever you want to say, bigger than recession, depressions come into play in the economy, because the companies start to say, oh shit, we need to do something to make more profit because the economy's tanking and we're not floating like we were. So what do? We know productivity is skyrocket while you don't get any wages or compensation for it. But they put the foot down on your neck even more. And I think what happens from my own observation is that when that occurs, more and more people realize the stuff that the producers were saying the whole time. Like, look, man, you don't really like it here. You don't, you should be wanting to do this, wanting to do that, or be like that. Don't let them tell them you're your own boss no matter what. You know what I mean? You might agree with, look, this company is just my biggest customer. That's what all this stuff is stuff I used to tell people. They used to look at me like I was crazy. Look, I understand you think you're my supervisor and everything, but I need to let you know I'm my own boss. Like I decided I was gonna come here when I woke up today, or log in remotely or whatever you want to call it. Right? Look, you're just. I got a few things going on in life right now, and you happen to be my biggest customer, my biggest client, and that's the way I view it. This is why a lot of people it was a love-hate Pasha's mentality, because when you just keep it true, people don't like the truth. So the supervisor be all offended that you like, nah, I'm my own boss. I'm your supervisor. You who? You are Jeremy. You are Mark. You are Jeff. Now we can work together, but I don't work for you. Like, I work for me. You are my client. And this is the way more people think about it. I think what happens is when the economy tanks and the companies start to get more like, more people realize that's how they really feel the whole time. When they were calling us crazy for talking about it when they were up there balling out and they think the days were good and everything was sweet. Like NY used to say back in the day, oh, you think shit's sweet? Right? When they were walking around looking like that, and we were telling them stuff then, they were calling us crazy, something wrong with us, and they wanted to keep us out the clique because we sounded different. When this happens, one, you see where we at, we not even around, because we may be struggling, but we in position to do something different, you know what I mean? And we fighting that battle. Meanwhile, they just waking up to what we've been saying 5 and 10 years ago. Oh shit, you know what? This foot on my throat, I don't think I like this anymore. Then what happens? Everybody wants to try and start their own business all of a sudden, which is what you saw in the pandemic, which is what you see right before the Great Depressions. Now, let's keep going. I'm building this up to something. I'm building this out. Work with me. I service the minds that enjoy a good puzzle, so we got to put it together. So this alignment of employees aligning themselves with the roles of consumers, right, significantly influences their job satisfaction and retention. That's how we get to what we were just saying. So the trend is particularly pronounced, they say, among Gen Z and millennials. Hello. My name is, I am, whatever you say I am, Gen Z, millennial, say I am, who prioritize company values when deciding whether to stay with their current employer or not, or any other relationship. Now, this is what I was getting at. In times of economic crisis, they say there's a notable shift towards self-employment. But for instance, the number of people becoming self-employed spiked during the Great Recession and Depression, although overall entrepreneurial activity declined. Keep that in mind. See, a lot of people wanted to become self-employed, but the overall entrepreneurial activity declined because they thought they were about that life, and they realized maybe they weren't. Now, some of us, we know we about that life. We know we're not used to certain elements of that life. And there's a transitional period where you got to fight through, claw, learn shit, like build relationships, network, figure out you don't want to network with these people because they crazy. And this is your tribe over here. Now you found it, you got your process together, you grew, you know what I mean? Like stuff happens. Like there's tough times in a transition like that, yes. But you're doing the entrepreneurial activity. Now, this trend, it says, suggests that economic downturns can push individuals towards self-employment as traditional employment opportunities diminish. Or is it, like I said, that they just what they really wanted the whole time when the company started squeezing, but now the fog and smoke and mirrors is coming off and they can see the shit for what it is, that why you left, right? Now, it can lead to instability if the market becomes saturated with small businesses that are struggling to survive. And this is where we get back to the clicks, because the problem is, or one problem is, that you got too many people claiming they do something, but only a select percentage of them actually do it. I'm reading from the notes for the people that say it's dumb, because the notes, one, make sure I don't forget something I want to tell you, and two, it gives technical information that otherwise you may misinterpret. So what I want you to consider is to spend full price. Learn what your price should be. Because the Great Recession highlights the challenges faced by new businesses in a struggling economy. All right? Now, let's take a look at this real quick and then we'll get up out of here. Yeah, these are very informative and they're not like cartoons and stuff. So, but RSM, and this is the reward for those who's made it this far. So what we have is intervening in the currency markets, the poverty of the dollar, devaluation. So the key takeaways is, as global capital has flocked to the American economy, the dollar has soared in value. A strong dollar has its costs, including higher prices abroad for US made goods. And they saying that they think a stronger dollar policy is in the interest of the middle market firms and consumers. Notice that it said and consumers, but it didn't say anything about producers. And this is why, you could say that the producers are having their challenges right now, because it's not set up to be producer friendly at the moment. So what they're saying is some things here. You can read this full article. It's rsmus.com. But a strong dollar has its costs. It said American made goods are now, well, check this out. It said one result in the dynamic economy of the surging dollar, which has appreciated against all but one of 15 major global trading currencies in the past year. and that's actually the Mexican peso. But a strong dollar has its cost. American-made goods are now more expensive for foreign buyers, which reduces American exports. As a result, some are calling for policymakers to take action, like instituting coordinated selling that would weaken the dollar to make exports more competitive, right? So the American goods are becoming more expensive, with them wanting to, the same way that their clique want you to keep shopping in the clique, because they want to make it cheap so that it can be basically inferior product. When you look at like great work, it stands the test of time. Like you can see some people in the background here, they've been doing some great work. I've been watching them and their production. So that lasts. That has high quality, high value. But that's not what's important right now to the issues with the consumers and everything. So when you scroll down here a little bit, it says that part. But in early May, the dollar appreciated to its highest levels versus the yen since 1990s, right? Now, against the euro, the dollar may reach a level achieved only 3 times since 2002. And it says that we think that increase will continue to point where the dollar will reach parity with the euro for the first time since August 2022. So basically, we're entering a period of time where the price is up for Americans to export. And when I say Americans, I mean North American, Middle America, South America. We're trying to export. Like, you thinking about China and competition with China, this is the time when you see my post on Facebook and you see me talking to London. Like, that's what we all should be doing right now. Like I started off in the video. Come together, create your collective GDP. Where do you want to bring the currency in from? Let's do that. All right. Get with me. Let's talk about your processes. Let's talk about your goals and challenges. And I can help you optimize and make you more profitable in that way. Okay. So I'm Pasha Paro. Thank you for tuning.